and this accounts for some of the discrepancies, the so-called discrepancies in the ancient cosmological systems, in the sense that they were coming at it from a different viewpoint because they were entrusted with a certain aspect of the knowledge. And secondly, it can only mean that it's coming from a source of truth. Why would everyone be agreeing on so many different points of the ancient cosmological system? How could they all come up with this independently if it wasn't coming from some source of knowledge and some source of truth, either through a system of ancient masters, through a system of ancient teachings, through a system of descending knowledge coming down from perfected beings who had at heart the best interests of mankind, so that we can understand our roots, so that we can understand the true nature of the power of the consciousness and the power of our soul. So it has very much vast implications when we look at the ancient cosmological systems. So I'd like to just point out some of the similarities in the ancient cosmological systems as a proof that either there was a unification, as discussed in the Vedas, of a perfected society in which everyone was in communion with each other and given different aspects of the knowledge to take care of and to preserve for future generations, and or that the knowledge was coming down to different societies who may or may not have been connected, but were receiving the same standard knowledge from a perfected source. Okay, so here are some of the similarities of ancient cosmology. Often there's a cosmic axial mountain or pillar, which often corresponds to an earthly local mountain. So again, unlike the modern system of the Big Bang and the impersonal universe, here we have a system where that the universal mountain, or the axial mountain, which is central, is connected with our earthly realm. That there's a connection, a very intimate connection between us and the cosmos within the physical world we see around us and the higher world of the cosmic situation. So right off the bat, it's something that's much more tangible, much more feasible, much more understandable to us, which gives us a connection to the higher powers, unlike the current system, which is being used against us to keep us as an insignificant speck without and always having to learn from experts what the scene is in the universal situation, and that these experts are manipulated to keep us in a degraded type of consciousness of impersonalism, of feeling inadequate, and that we have no real use within the cosmic situation. So this is a big, huge difference between the ancient system and the current system. Okay, another of the features in the ancient cosmologies of the world that are in common. There's usually a central island or islands in a concentric form of landmass, then ocean. Landmass, then ocean, as we might imagine as a mandala, with one central continent being most important, or where mankind is residing, then that's surrounded by water, then another circular continent, almost in a bullseye formation. So that is another feature of many ancient cosmological systems, the idea of a central continent or island surrounded by water. Another feature of the ancient cosmological system is that there are perpendicular rivers flowing from the central mountain at the cardinal points. We see this over and over, time and again, in the ancient systems. That there's a world-girdling serpent that I believe represents, in one sense, that many ancient systems talk about that we are supported or upheld. For example, the Vedic system, that the serpent Anantasesha is supporting the world situation. So again, we see this in many ancient cosmological systems, that there is a serpent that is intimately involved with the upholding of the universal situation. That often the world's central mountain is surrounded by smaller mountain ranges in the cardinal directions that surround the central mountain. That there's often a cosmic tree of life growing on the world mountain or the mountain ranges surrounding the central mountain. So the tree of life, this is something that is very important. So here we're seeing that with the there's a connection to the animal kingdom in the form of the serpent. There's a connection to the plant kingdom in the form of the cosmic tree. That there's a connection with the land that we see around us in the sense that the cosmic situation is projected onto our local features of the area that we live in the terms of there's a universal mountain that corresponds with a mountain that we can see. So here we see that the ancient cosmic system is pointing out the interconnectedness of all the different kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the human beings, whereas the current modern system has taken all that away from us. That there are graded heavens and underworlds. So in other words, as we advance up the cosmic tree or the axial pillar or the cosmic central mountain, that we pass through different types of realms, and that these realms are connected with our bodily chakras, higher and lower. So that again we see the connection between moving up the axial mountain, the cosmic axial mountain or the cosmic axial pillar, that we pass through different energy zones or different spheres of existence to ultimate higher realms with more powerful beings that have the best interests of mankind at heart, that have helped to create us and to create these worlds, that we can also become like empowered beings, that our consciousness, and that this is connected to the consciousness within our body through the chakra system. That also in many of the ancient wisdom systems in the cosmological situation, there is an amniotic ocean. For example, in the Vedic literature, it is stated that the universe is half filled with water. The lower half is filled with water, and that the upper half is the realm of the celestial stars and planets and cosmology scene. So this can get into some aspects too of currently to try to uphold the Big Bang theory and other theories, whether it be steady state or Big Bang, that 90 to 95% of the mass of the universe is missing. That what we observe, for the whole thing to work, for the whole thing to hold together, that most of the mass is missing. They don't understand where it is, and they're having to come up with all kinds of theories about dark matter, dark energy. And one of my proposals is that perhaps because they can't see the cosmic ocean, which is spoken of in many ancient systems, that this is perhaps some of the missing mass that they can't understand where it is of the universe. Another is that the abode of the celestial beings is atop the central or cosmic mountain. That is another feature of many ancient cosmological systems, that as we progress up the axial mountain or the axial tree of life, that we tend to advance in higher states of consciousness, and that consciousness can translate into higher ways of manipulating the material world, material nature, in the sense that we can attain the mystic siddhis of yoga. We become lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest. We can travel very quickly to distant places. We can manipulate matter in all kinds of ways. So the idea is that we move up the axial mountain or the axial tree of life, that we attain greater and higher powers. Just like as we move through the chakras in our body, that they're from lower to higher. That there is a cosmic connection of the heavens to the earth. This is also important in the ancient cosmological systems, that there could be realms right near us that we can't see, but that are connected with this world in terms of beings watching over us or helping to influence the current situation of the manifest world, that are intimately connected with us. Also, there's in ancient cosmological systems, there's talk of subterranean worlds, which gets into kind of the hollow earth theories, and that many ancient cosmological systems, there are subterranean worlds that are spoken of. And the next factor that is common throughout many of the ancient systems is the spherical shell surrounded by by cosmic elemental elements. So in other words, the universe that we see, the Big Bang brings up so many different questions about, well, what was there before the universe? What are we expanding into? And it creates this picture of a kind of infinite expansion into nothingness. But in many of the ancient wisdom systems, the universe is actually covered by a shell and is considered to be like an egg, and that the covering of the shell is the elements such as earth, water, fire, air, ether, consciousness, ego, things like that. So it's kind of like we're in a much more protected situation. And then the question becomes, when you're inside of something, then what is outside of that? Whereas if you're in an a universe of infinity, there's no question of anything being outside of it, even though they say it's expanding, so it has to be expanding into something, even though they say it came about by a Big Bang, so there had to be something before that. But these questions don't really ever arise, or that the answers are always manipulated to be impersonal. But when we understand that we're in a universe that has a cosmic covering, the natural question will be, well, what is outside of that? And in many of the ancient cosmological systems, what is outside of that is the abode of the Supreme Creator, which is full of light, which is full of consciousness, which is full of everlasting happiness, which is full of everlasting relationships. And there he is surrounded in his abode by the elect of the perfected beings, and the perfected yogis and saints and ancient masters and wisdom masters of the past. So we can transfer ourselves from this world that we are, the material universe that we are covered in this by these elemental coverings, through different processes of yoga, through enlightenment, through the paths of self-realization and the science of self-realization. We can also transfer ourselves to these higher realms. And because there is a connection with them, we can also experience the existence of the higher realms even while remaining within this material universe. So this is very important to understand, that all these ideas of the ancient cosmological systems create a much more accommodating feel to the universe. They point out the connectedness of the higher atmospheres and the higher situations, and even the ultimate spiritual situations, full of light, full of purity, full of destiny, to our own current situation. They also point out the interconnectedness of the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, to the human beings, and how it's all working in unison with each other, even on the cosmic scale. So all these things are in direct contrast to what we've been given currently. What we've been given currently is a proven lie. It's a proven falsity. It's been used just to manipulate us, to keep us in darkness, to keep us impersonal, to keep us separated from ourselves and the plant kingdom and the animal kingdoms. So I'm asking people to try to understand the ancient cosmological systems, whether they be Indian or Chinese or Babylonian or Sumerian or Egyptian or Dogon or Peruvian or Native American, and this will give us a better understanding of our true place in the cosmic situation and a true place of our understanding of our ultimate power. So we're about out of time, so I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Hopefully we can explore some more of these issues in the future. And I understand that you're all very wonderful for listening to the show, and I'd like to ask you to come back next Saturday at noon, where we'll be discussing some more of these issues. In the meantime, if you'd like to go to my weblog, protectacow.typepad.com, a lot of these aspects of knowledge are discussed there, and you can read up on them even further. So next Saturday at noon for the radio show, at protectacow.typepad.com. If you'd like to do some reading and some studying between now and then. So thank you all for listening. Thank you very much. Bye.